Well, hello, and welcome to the Tea with Tea. Today, I'm going to be talking about manifestation and how easy yet hard it really is. I've been on this journey of self-discovery, spirituality for several years, and manifestation is a big aspect of learning how to live the life that you truly want. Essentially, manifestation is easy. You just embody the person who already has what it is you want, and then it just comes to you. And for people who don't believe in manifestation or believe that the universe works the way that it does, people who are still in the matrix, and if you've watched my previous podcast, you understand what I mean when I say the matrix. You're not going to believe me when I say that manifestation even exists, let alone is easy. But I myself have experienced moments where I manifested something like that. I think the quickest I manifest something was within like 12 hours. I thought of something, I said it out loud, and then within 12 hours I had it. It was something simple, something small. Not like, oh, I need $1 million, and then it was there in 12 hours. Like, no. But those little things show you the true power of manifestation. When you know that you want something, or that you are meant to do something, or be somewhere, you just know. It's a knowing, not a, oh, maybe. It's a knowing. And then you believe in your mind that you deserve it. You speak about it as if you already have it, whether it's to yourself, or if you write it down, or if you speak it to other people. When you embody that, the version of you who already has it, believes that you deserve it because you already have it, but also speaks about it as if they already have it because they do have it, or writes about it as if they already have it because they do have it. So you need to embody that version of yourself, the version of yourself that already is where you want to be or has what you want to have. So once you embody the version of you that already has whatever it is you're trying to manifest, it has no choice but to come to you. That's just the laws of the universe. That's just how energy works. You attract what you put out, period. Which is why when you have a negative mindset, when you're constantly thinking negatively, or you think negative of the world itself, that's what you're going to continue to see. Don't get me wrong. The world is a messed up place, but that's the physical world. That's the matrix, so to speak. This program that we live in, I call it the matrix, where the 1%ers have control of everything, of perception, of fear, of all this. That's why life is set up the way that it is, so they can control us through fear. Because what you perceive is what you believe. So if you perceive life as negative and never working out for you, then it's never going to work out for you. Period. When I had that mindset, that's the life I experienced. Nothing ever worked out. Like, I was always struggling, and don't get me wrong, I still struggle. Like, I low-key had a little bit of a breakdown before I recorded this. Because this matrix that we live in, although we are aware that life is much more than this matrix, we still have to exist within it. So it's awful seeing the way that the world works, seeing how people are treated, and even myself, how I'm treated, how I don't have the life that I want yet, because this programming that they instill in us from birth pretty much is to fear everything, to be scared of the unknown, to be scared of life, to be afraid that nothing is ever going to work out for you, not to know your true power. They don't want you to know that you have the power to manifest whatever you want. You have the power to create the life that you want. It's all about deprogramming that fear, that uncertainty. And that's what I'm working on. That's currently what I'm working on. And my life wouldn't be what it was or what it is right now if I hadn't started working on those aspects of my life. I'd still be in a dead-end 9-to-5 job. I'd still be completely exhausted and drained all the time from doing something that I didn't even want to do. But now my exhaustion and tiredness comes from things that I actually want to do, from focusing on things that I actually want to focus on, like myself. Even positive things can have a draining effect on you, you know? If you are meditating for hours on end, that's a lot of mental work you're doing. So of course your body is going to be tired from that. Just like when people have jobs where it takes more mental power than physical power to do it, you're still exhausted once you leave the job because you've used a lot of mental power. You can be mentally exhausted just as much as you can be physically exhausted. When you're doing all this work on yourself and improving your mindsets, deprogramming what you've learned since childhood, you're going to be exhausted. And it's going to seem like you're unable to manifest, like you're not actually creating the life you want, and that all of this is just a crock of shit, honestly. You're going to have moments where it feels like that. Because you're in this almost in between where you're no longer the person you were, but you're not yet the person you're supposed to be or that you want to be. You are seeing little aspects of the change that you're implementing in your mindsets and everything, but you're still seeing the negativity of the world where, oh, this random bill comes up, or something happens where you have to shell out a decent amount of money, like something, happening to your car and you have to pay to get that fixed. And it's like, oh my gosh, it seems like it's never ending. And in this matrix, that's how it's supposed to be. They want you to constantly have something that you have to focus on other than yourself, other than creating the life you want. Because when you focus on the external, you don't realize that the power lies within you, not anywhere outside of you. You can work your ass off. You can work so hard in any job and still lose the job, or, be pushed out, quit, whatever the case may be. You can be the kindest person and so generous and still be treated like shit in this matrix, because that's what they want. They want you to feel like being positive and having a positive mindset is a bad thing. They want you to be negative because that's how they control you. They control you through that negativity and harvest your energy pretty much, which is why everyone is constantly so exhausted. Even when people have easy jobs, they're negative. Jobs are not careers. It's completely different. Careers, typically, not always, are something that you choose to do because it's what you want to do. And it's lucrative. It supports you in your lifestyle. Don't get me wrong, there are careers that also fall into the job category, in my opinion. Whereas you're doing it only because it earns you a lot of money. You earn all this money, but by doing shady things or by doing something you just don't enjoy. It may be perfectly legal, but it's not something you enjoy. You're only doing it because of the money. So in my opinion, that's a job, not a career. A career is something you do because you want to do it, because you enjoy doing it. And the fact that it supports your life is just kind of a byproduct of it. You do it because you want to, not because you have to. And we're programmed to believe that we have to have a job, whether we like it or not, in order to support ourselves in this life. And it seems that way. It feels that way. That's what I was struggling with earlier today. Is I'm working so hard on myself and changing my perspectives, my mindsets, and knowing that I have the power to create the life I want. But the matrix is still here, giving me these bits of negativity, like, oh, here's this tax bill that you have to pay. That's an immense amount of money that you definitely don't have. So you're going to have to make payments on it for God knows how long. Okay, yeah, that sucks. And in a previous mindset, in an old mindset, you would have told me that, 5-10 years ago, I would have completely spiraled. I'd have been like, it's time to give up. There's no way I'm going to be able to pay this. Just the complete full-on negative perspective of receiving a bill like that. And now those mindsets try to pop up, like specifically in this situation, because I do owe taxes this year, and it almost made me spiral. I had a whole breakdown seeing how much I owe the IRS. Like, holy crap, how could I possibly owe that much when I pay taxes throughout the year? And I do Amazon Flex, which doesn't take taxes out ahead of time. That is majority of why I owe. But how much I owe compared to how much I made, it's overwhelming. And that's how they want you to feel. They want you to feel that way. So I did for a moment. I allowed myself to feel those feelings, and I acknowledged that the negativity was coming from an old mindset. I don't have to feel that way, because at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do about it. I live in this world where taxes are required, or I live in this country where taxes are required. There's no way of getting out of it. It's already done. It is what it is, and I'll figure it out. Period. They do offer payment plans. And yeah, although that'll take away from the money that I have, day to day, month to month, whatever, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. That's tax evasion. Would I rather go to prison, or would I rather take however much time it takes to pay it off? Like, come on. You know what I mean? When you look at it that way, of it is what it is, that's when you begin to change your mindset to a mindset that's able to manifest whatever you want. Because regardless of all the negative stuff that happens, or the hardballs that get thrown at you, hardballs, anyways, when you look at it as it is what it is, I'm gonna figure it out anyways. Like, I've had so much worse thrown at me throughout my life than some freaking IRS tax bill. Like, come on. I've been through so much more in life. And I'm gonna let that affect my day-to-day? Like, no, there's nothing I can do about that. Like, I really just have to pay it and just fucking get over it. That's it. And once I allowed myself to feel those negative feelings that came up initially because of how my mindset used to be, and then actually ask myself, why am I feeling so negative about this? Other than the fact that my money can go to better things than a government who just wastes our money on nothing. It is what it is. Why am I being upset? Why am I feeling this? Why am I choosing to feel negative emotions about something that I cannot control? Why? That's not serving me at all. That's not helping me. That's not going to help me pay it. That's not going to help me find a way to get out of it, which, I mean, really, the saying of you live, pay taxes, and die, like, legit. There's really, like, no way to get out of that shit. Like, it's a very extensive process, and it's too late at this point for the taxes that I owe right now for me to get out of those. So, period. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do. I just had to pay it and get it over with. So now I'm like, I'm gonna just wait until the last moment to file so I can push off having to pay it as long as I can, save up, as much money as I can. There are things I can do to ease this situation. No, it's not going to necessarily change it or get rid of it, but it'll ease the situation. It doesn't feel as overwhelming. And it's all because of my mindset. So because I have this mindset, or I'm shifting this mindset, now it goes from, oh my gosh, this is the worst news ever, I don't know how I'm gonna handle this, blah, 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 to, yeah, that sucks, but it is what it is. I'll figure it out. I always do. 30 years later, I've always figured it out, period. I've always showed up for myself. So why wouldn't I in this situation? Like, yeah, it's unfair that taxes are the way that we are and that they take 40, almost 50% of our income because they tax our money before we get it. And then they tax everything we buy. Totally unfair and is actually very unsustainable, especially with the cost of living and how much we actually make. Like, I've been applying at jobs thinking that, that's going to solve my problems. But it's like, it doesn't matter whether I have a job or I continue to do Amazon Flex. I'm still paying taxes. I'm still facing the same issue. I just have to learn how to see it from a different perspective so I can ease through it instead of resisting it, instead of fighting it, because there's nothing I can do about it. And so once you learn to change your perspective, your mindset on every situation, doesn't matter what it's, even if it's down to, losing someone you love, whether that be, just them no longer being in your life or them actually passing away. Yes, it sucks. Allow yourself to feel those negative feelings for however long it may take you to move through it, but then let it go. Because that negativity is not serving you. And yes, grieving is definitely healthy, but only for a certain amount of time. People live in that for days, weeks, months. And although the situation does suck, don't allow yourself to just sit in that for too long. Once you feel it, let it go and move on. There's no reason to sit in that, because that negativity is what stops you from being able to manifest. Even if you have a great life already, like you have nothing in your life that you would change, everything's going well, all your bills are paid, you're surrounded by people who love you and that you love back, great, fantastic. But life does throw things at you, such as losing a loved one. And if that happens and you let yourself sit in that negativity or that grieving for too long, that's when it becomes negative. The grieving is healthy until you do it for too long, and then it becomes negative. And you can have the best life, but because you allow yourself to sit in that negative emotion for too long, things start to go wrong. Things start to change. Things start to reflect what you're putting out into the world, which is that sadness, that grief. You don't ever want to feel any negative emotion for too long. Acknowledge it and let it move through you, pass through you, move on. And once I learned how to do that, which I'm still learning, that's part of the process, is recognizing when you feel negatively, asking yourself why. Why do I really feel this way? Because of a preconceived idea of what life should be, or because a preconceived idea of what's fair and what's not, because of all these things that I've learned since childhood that create my belief system. That's why I feel negatively. So once I realized that, and I'm like, I don't have to feel this way. Like, literally, I said that to myself earlier. I don't have to feel like this. Yeah, it may be a stressful situation. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get through it, but I know that I will. And that's all that matters. I don't have to know how. I don't have to know when. I just know that I will, period. And once you are able to harness that mindset, manifestation comes like that. Like nothing. Like nothing. It's easy. And that example I used earlier of when I manifested something in less than 12 hours or within 12 hours, I can't remember exactly, this was months ago. I was in a mindset of course, everything always works out for me. Of course it does. Like, why wouldn't it? And that was my steady mindset for months. And things were just continuously working out for me. But then something negative happened in my life. And it threw off my whole perspective, my whole mindset. I allowed it to throw me off. Because yeah, things suck and things happen that are out of your control that you don't deserve to experience, but you did. And again, it's out of your control, so it is what it is. There's no reason to dwell on that negativity, and I did. I sat in this negativity. Why did I have to experience that? Not only did I experience something negative, but I also lost somebody in the process. And I can never trust them again. Like, why did I have to go through that? And I sat in that negativity, like, why? But it's like, it doesn't matter why. Honestly, it happened. You can't go back and change it. I took the steps to ensure that I don't experience that in the future. And that's all I can do. So I'm letting go of that negativity, allowing myself to re-enter this mindset of course everything works out for me. Even when negative things happen, that's the thing. That negative thing happened for a reason. I went through that. I experienced that for a reason, because that person was not supposed to be in my life. And I was refusing to see that. So something bad happened that forced me to have to let them go. And at first I chose to be like, oh, why does this stuff always happen to me? Why am I always losing people? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even matter. It's none of that. Those kind of thoughts, those kind of perspectives and mindsets they don't serve you. They don't help the situation. They don't help you move on. They don't help you process. No, processing is, this is what happened. Why do I feel the way that I do about it? Allow yourself to feel it, not for too long, and let it go. Move on. Don't dwell on it. Don't continuously think about it. Don't push it away, because it'll just keep coming back up. No matter how long, you may go months without thinking about it, but it'll still keep coming back up. Don't do that. Work through it, let it go, and move on. Take the steps you need to ensure that those things don't happen, or that you'll recognize the red flags or, the indicators that something bad is going to happen in the future. Maybe that's why you experienced something bad, because you needed to be able to pick up on those things so that way you don't get yourself in that kind of situation in the future. In every situation, there's either a lesson or a blessing. You either learn something or you receive something. In every situation, doesn't matter if it's good or bad, neutral, whatever. You learn something or you receive something. And receiving something could, be something physical or mental, or, even just within your life path, you shift, you receive something positive from it, whatever it may be. So once you start to see life this way, and that this is how life works, manifestation becomes a lot easier. You believe that what you want is already on its way to you, because why wouldn't it be? You can choose to see all these external factors that logically would point at, that's not going to happen for you, or you can't achieve that, or you can't have that. You can choose to see it that way, because that's very possible. That's the thing. Within the universe, anything is possible, including impossibility. So if you believe it's impossible, then it will be. But if you believe it's possible, then it will be. So just believe so hard in yourself, in your power. And believe that you are deserving of what you want. And you may not see it tomorrow, you may not see it next week, next month, even next year. Because this is all a process. This is something that I'm currently working on. Like, I'm literally changing my mindset. My perspective is something I'm actively working on. I check myself. I have these negative thoughts. I recognize it though. That's the thing. You have to recognize it. Instead of absorbing the thought, observe it. So when you have a negative thought, instead of being like, oh yeah, seriously though, like why is this happening? Whatever the negative thoughts may be that come along with that one initial negative thought, don't spiral like that. Observe it, don't absorb it. Because when you observe it, you're like, okay, I see you, I hear you. Why are you popping up? Acknowledge it. And if changes need to be made because of it, implement, and then let it go. Because every negative thought, you can choose to absorb it or observe it. Every thought, period, not even just negative. Every thought, you can choose to absorb it or observe it. When you choose to observe it, you allow yourself to just let it flow through you instead of holding on to it and radiating that negativity. The only things you should hold on to is positivity and joy. And not even the situations that are associated with that. Because great, beautiful things happen in life. But once they stop, you need to let them go. Because holding on to something good is just as bad as holding on to something bad. You don't want to hold on to anything. Let life just happen. Don't resist it. Of course, take steps to create the life that you want and to take care of yourself. But in general, in a very general sense, just let life happen and move with it. Because when you resist it, that's when things start to go wrong. Because you're resisting what already is. And when you choose to just be happy now, when you choose to just feel good now, despite what the external world is showing you, that's when things start to change. So really, you have to work on yourself and your perspective, your mindset, before you can actually manifest what you want. We're always manifesting, no matter positive, negative, neutral, whatever. We are always manifesting, because what you put out is what you receive. So as long as you're alive, as long as you're breathing, you're manifesting. And in a deeper aspect, even once this physical body dies, you're still manifesting. But that's another discussion for another day, which I've kind of touched on before. But yeah, it all starts with your perspective, with your mindset, with how you choose to see the world, how you choose to see your life, yourself, your abilities, your power. It's all your choice. You can choose to see all the negativity in the world and live a life based on that, or you can choose to see all the positivity in the world and live a life based on that. And whatever you choose is where your manifestation will lie. If you choose to see life as negative, nothing ever works out. That's what you're going to see. And if you choose to see life as something that's beautiful, regardless of what the external shows, you're going to see more of that. And this is from someone who has only seen bits and pieces of this as I've started to change my mindset. So for someone who hasn't even gotten there yet, which there is no destination, it's just a continuous journey. But once you get to a certain aspect, it's like everything just flows easier. So for someone who hasn't gotten to that point yet, being able to say that I see and have experienced that this works, that changing your mindset and your perspective works, I hope that you can find some sort of comfort in that and know that you can do this too. Just know that it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process. The deprogramming of the fear of the unknown takes a long time, or it can take a long time. For some people, it may not. For some people, maybe they didn't have as much of a negative upbringing as others. And so it's easier for them to step out of that programming than it is for others. And it's been difficult for me to step out of that programming. I'm getting more and more out of that programming every day as I catch my thoughts and recognize the negativity and acknowledge it and let it go, so I can move on in a positive way, where these negative things, or what I used to perceive as negative, will happen. And I'm okay, well, what can I learn from this? What out of this situation can I utilize? Because there's always something. So just change your perspective, change your mindset, and you change your life. You'll more easily be able to manifest whatever it is you may want. But yeah, that's my 2 cents about that. And I know it's a bit controversial, but most of the topics I talk about are a bit controversial. So I hope that some of this resonated with you and helps guide you toward creating the life that you want. Because as I always say, I love you, love yourself, and let's grow together.